Welcome back to the coolest channel on YouTube, man. We got a dope video for y'all today, man. But look, make sure that y'all doing y'all due diligence, man. Going out here doing your own research too, man. Never just take my word for it in any of these videos, because you have to really find something that tethers you to the truth. But look, with all that being said, man, hopefully y'all been having a good day. Just know we're going through this thing called life together. You never in it by yourself, man. We on this journey together. But look, dope vibes only. Let's get into this video, people.
Explain that these crossbreeds were put into the positions of royal ruling power, almost just like demigods, middlemen between the gods, the Chitahuli, the reptiles, and the people. Those bloodlines, in my own research, became the European royal families and aristocracy, and today are the ruling, banking, business, and political and royal lines of the world. And the genealogy supports this increasingly. Is there a tradition also that the royal lines of Africa go back to the same source?
Please, you don't have to believe me. Go to Rwanda and there talk to the people there. They will tell you that the founding ancestors of their dynasties, the first kings who came from the sky, and they were called Imanugela, the ascending ones. Say, many African tribes believe that when the gods came down from the sky, they found human beings very, very stupid. And the human beings could not come before the gods in order to be taught. So what the gods did, and this is a story that you also find amongst the Dogoni people in West Africa, because the human beings were afraid of approaching these reptile gods. The reptile gods cold-bloodedly slaughtered one of their number and shed out its flesh with a specially gathered crowd of human beings. And these human beings then became the ancestors of our first great kings. Now say, African kings jealously guarded their blood.
If the royal lines of Africa claim descendants for the same source, basically, have those lines interbred as obsessively as the European aristocracy and royal family, and not bred outside of those lines?
Yes, sir. Royalty had to marry royalty. That was one of the strictest laws in ancient times.
Which is obviously where we get the term the divine right of kings from. It's not actually God, it's actually the gods.
Yes, sir, yes. Royalty intermarried with royalty. In Egypt, Hathor or Hathor. In South Africa, she was known as Mahato, the mother of the great footprint.
Is that the footprint you showed me once?
Yes, sir.
It's about 6 foot long, isn't it?
Yes, sir. And Mr. David, that footprint is the footprint of a woman, not a man. How do we know? If you are a tracker of people, you will notice that the instep of a woman's foot is slightly different from that of a male foot.
Admiral Byrd official interview north and south, beyond the ice.
Going down to the South Pole area to make certain observations and to look for some bases. They will be back in April, and they will report back, and upon the information we get from that undertaking, we will base the bigger expedition that's to follow.
Is that very definitely planned, or is that...
That is being planned right now. So I'm willing to say to you that there will be a number of expeditions that will follow, I think, year after year, to the bottom of the world, because the government has really become interested.
Well, Admiral Byrd, I can understand, I think everybody can, the interest in the North Pole because it's so near our greatest challenger, Soviet Russia. But why this interest in the bottom of the world? Nobody living down there, is there?
No, it's pretty cold. There's only one permanent resident, that's the emperor penguin. The little ones live further north. I tell you one reason they're interested. It's by far the most valuable, important place left in the world for science. That's why the scientific groups all over the nation are really interested. But more important than that, it has to do with the future of the nation, those to come after us, or even during your lifetime. Because it happens to be an untouched reservoir of natural resources. And you know, as the world shrinks with an ever-increasing acceleration, far-flung places, once useless like we thought the North Pole was, and no man's land, become very useful. The bottom of the world will be important, not only to us, but to our allies.
I was going to ask you, does it have military importance?
It has some, and as the world shrinks, it will continue to shrink with an ever-increasing acceleration, thus bringing these places closer. And in the future, I can see a time when it will be very, very important strategically.
Well, has the development of air power increased the strategic importance of places like the
very much
Palmer
so.
Peninsula, we'll say?
Very much so. Even now, if anything happened and we lost the Panama Canal, we would have to control the islands just north of Antarctica, which are part of Antarctica, and between there and Cape Horn.
I've heard it said that there are 7 continents in the world, and one of them has never been seen by a woman, and that's Antarctica. Is that actually true?
Well, if the Palmer Peninsula is an island, as far as I know, that's true. No woman's ever stepped foot upon the Antarctic continent, and it's the most peaceful place in the world.
Well, I'm sure that won't last very long.
Message.
We've found enough of coal within 180 miles of the South Pole in a great ridge of mountains. It's not covered with snow, enough to supply the whole world for quite a while.
Well,
that's the coal. Now, there's evidence of many other minerals. We are pretty sure there's oil. Now, that coal shows the bottom of the world. Now, by far, the coldest spot in the world. Where that coal is gets 100 below zero in the winter.
Well,
it was once tropical. So we think there's oil there, and there's evidence, probably uranium there.
Is it any secret? Is there uranium there? That would be the only thing that would be practical to actually go after, I suppose. Everything else would be economically unfeasible, wouldn't it?
Well, as we recklessly expend our resources, the time will come when we'll have to go after that stuff down there. Well, you know, I avoided what you said about uranium. I'm not sure about that. I don't want to have the world fighting over the Antarctic.
Admiral, is there a competition among other nations to try to get information about Antarctica and possibly to secure some of these resources?
Well, yes. There are now 7 nations very much interested. Russia is interested tremendously.
Of course.
That I'm sure of. Australia has an expedition down there. The Argentine, the Chile, New Zealand, Britain, and so on. Now, you can understand those people down there being interested because they live down there, the New Zealanders, the Argentinians, the Chileans, and the Australians. And so we don't do much about claiming anything.
Admiral, you make it sound a little crowded. Are there that many expeditions now there or en route there?
Well, you know, as I said, it's the most peaceful place in the world, but I don't think it will be for long because of this intense interest on the part of other nations and this nation.
Well, Admiral Byrd...
Message. Hey, look, he kind of predicting something, though. It's peaceful right now between all of them. Every country has a treaty, right, for that area in the Arctic. They are trying to galvanize the resources, man, reverse engineer stuff that they found from the beginning of time, like exactly where certain groups of people come from and how they were made. That stuff is out there. But look, we're gonna continue to go, man. Like this is getting crazy, man. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about this in the comments down below. We already know that they have a treaty, bro. There's no points about if ands or buts about that. But how long is the peace gonna stay peaceful out there? See what's happening what's happening today. Just let me know in the comments down below how y'all feeling. What's the temperature like right now? I know it's cold out there, but shit, it might be heating up pretty soon.
They go up toward the Beardmore Glacier, and that is the jump off to how they get to this deep underground through an octagonal structure. The scientists have been in there studying all this ancient archaeology 2 miles down under the ice. And the Navy SEAL gets to walk one of these huge rooms, 9-acre rooms. He was there in 2004, so I have 2 completely different SEALs. They're describing exactly the same kind of architecture. Black basalt, symbols, we're talking whole walls, 40 feet high, completely covered with symbols that the archaeologist says are somewhere in between Mayan and Egyptian and are neither. The 2012 SEAL got there by going in on a submarine, coming out, and said to him, it was one of the most astonishing things. He said, you have light that is moving with you, you have this even temperature, you're looking up at ceilings and there is no structure that is going up. And they are maybe 33 to 34 million years old. It is still sustaining a structural integrity.
I was with the Grumman Corporation that built the lunar module. So that was my main part. Then after that, I went to work over at the Lunar Receiving Laboratory and caught the astronauts coming back from the moon with the samples and supplies, and we became the director of the Data and Photo Control Department, which meant I had access to the first analysis of the samples, all of the pictures, the film, and et cetera. And because mine are the original pictures right off of the original negatives, first generation. And when people have come to me and taken a look at it, they're flabbergasted because they can see some of the alien bases, some of the things that were on the moon that have been kept secret.
The artifacts on the moon, let's say the structures, are they extraterrestrial? Are they ancient civilizations maybe that break away from Earth?
How about all three? There are some evidence of some ancient ruins, and I have pictures that we've zoomed in and looked at some of the ancient ruins. I've got some fantastic pictures in my archive, and there's a series of craters there that actually shows domes illuminated from the inside. There's over a dozen or more domes inside this one flat area on the moon, and I've got the original pictures that shows it just as clear as it can be. Now, for people that don't know, the Russians got to the moon first before we did, and as their satellites went around, they took pictures on the backside of the moon back to who else is on the moon. I tell everyone, take your hand, turn it palm up, bring your fingers all together, and look at the domes on the top. That's basically the way those 5 domes were arranged, but they blended in somewhat with the rim of the crater Tsiolkovsky. Astronomers have come out and said, the moon is an anomaly in itself. It's too big to be going around a planet. It's the perfect size at its orbit. It can totally block out the sun. That's just 2 of the things. And the other one is for it to maintain the distance from the Earth, it doesn't weigh enough.
Hey, look, that's wild to me. Like, I think, look, man, y'all think the moon is a made up structure? I think it's artificial. Like, if you ask me, I think the moon is definitely artificial. I seen the moon doing some unmoonly things lately. You feel me? Like, that just can't be explained, bro. Like, it's been a lot of videos on it lately, man. Let me know in the comments down below if y'all have been seeing the moon doing unmoonly things. You feel me? Like, we're gonna run with that. It's doing unmoonly things. It ain't been, and the moon ain't been mooning, y'all. You feel me? So look, let me know what weirdness y'all been seeing. I know y'all been witnessing it, man. Everybody is paying it. Most people are paying attention now. And yeah, I appreciate y'all. You know what I'm saying? But look, I'm interested to see what y'all gonna say in the comments. Like, y'all be lit down there. Y'all dope.
The sailor thinks that he's traveling around the Earth this way, when in effect he's traveling around the Earth this way.
They began flying it around the world, from Abu Dhabi last year, with stops in India and China, then across the vast Pacific.
Does running around your neighborhood prove that the neighborhood is round?
I was an airline pilot for Delta for 26 years. A pilot's primary flight instrument is his artificial horizon, which he has to be maintained level to keep from climbing and descending. From a cockpit, weather permitting, I could see hundreds of miles in all directions, viewing cities connected by roads across the flat plain as far as the eye could see.
Are you the pilot? Am I allowed to say hi? Hey, I just want to say thanks for the smooth flight. Right. I did have one question. Is there like a specific angle of downward tilt you have to fly at?
3 degrees.
3 degrees for the curvature of the Earth?
Oh, for the Earth?
Because, yeah.
No, we just fly over the troposphere.
Really?
Yeah.
But do you have to keep like kind of going down because?
No, we actually have to nose up. It flies.
Really? Because I was reading some stuff on the flat Earth that made a lot of sense. Have you looked into it?
Which one? Sorry.
I was reading a lot of stuff on the flat Earth.
Okay, yeah. True.
Look, that one had to be in there again. Look, people, last time I showed that clip, people was in their feelings about this shit. Like, it's not. You talking about, look, people trying to tell you that it's not flat. Some people have never gotten an airplane in their fucking life, and they still trying to tell people some stuff, man. It is what it is, man. The math just don't be mathing, but I mean, look, man, it's whatever. Our ancestors, all of our ancestors was drawing it differently than what it is currently today. Why you think the lies can't be maintained? The lies can't be maintained with the stuff that they've been taught in the school system about our history, about us. Think about it, people. Wake up, nigga.
To us. So this to me, that this guy came out in 1994 and said, nope, there is a Project Bluebeam taking place. NASA is involved with the help of the United Nations. I would have thought this man was crazy. If I was old enough to consider this, I would have thought he was out of his mind. So what's interesting about this, though, is that he publishes that book in 1994. And then the following years, in 1995 and 1996, he starts saying that he's being hunted by the police and the authorities for his involvement in networks of prohibited information. Now, that also sounds crazy. Oh, they're after me now because I published Project Bluebeam. He sounds like a total nut job. That sounds insane. Except for the fact that the state then took his children in September of 1996, claiming that his children being homeschooled was just a bad thing and that they weren't receiving the education that they deserved. They made his children wards of the state. They took his children so that they would receive a public education. So that's odd. Why would you take children because they're being homeschooled and make them wards of the state so that they can receive a public education? Well, it's going to get a little odder. He then died of a heart attack in his home in December of 1996 at the age of 51, just one day after being arrested and spending a night in jail. So they arrested him, something pertaining to his children not being in school, and then a day later he died. So obviously you can see that a ton of conspiracy theories regarding his death exist. That's weird. It's weird enough for people to then start listening to maybe some things that he was saying. So Serge Manis said that step one of Project Bluebeam was going to involve the manufacturing of artificially created earthquakes in strategic locations around the world. Again, to make it clear, he is stating in 1994 that the governments were in possession of technology that was going to be able to make this happen. Can the government cause earthquakes? I don't really know about that. Again, I'm just telling you what he said. These earthquakes, according to
Hey, she tried to take the steam off herself. She don't want to sound like she believe this shit. Like, I feel, she ain't trying to get, you ain't trying to get unalive too. I get it. This story reminds me of Dr. Sabi, right? Unalived him just like that after being taken in. It's crazy.
To him, we're going to unearth ancient artifacts indicating that the religious doctrines of all nations have been misunderstood for centuries, thus discrediting all religions. The second step, he says, was going to involve a giant show from space. Essentially, they were going to use three-dimensional optical holograms that were going to project holographic images to beam across the sky, and that these images were going to include projections of Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Krishna, and it was all going to merge into one. Essentially, they were going to be able to accomplish this by using space-based satellites, and it was going to make the entire sky transform into a massive movie screen. Do they have the technology to do that at NASA? I don't know. NASA really is just sort of a black budget, in my opinion. I have no idea what NASA does. I don't know why they're getting trillions and trillions of taxpayer dollars. I don't know what NASA does.
Facts.
Call me an idiot, but they have an incredible budget for seemingly nothing, in my opinion. The third step is even more far-fetched. He says that this is going to involve artificial intelligence. Again, I just like to state this over and over again. He was saying this in 1994. Artificial intelligence that was going to be able to use mind control to reach people inside of their minds. And this was going to involve rays from satellites that are being fed memories from our computers that have stored massive data about every single human being on Earth. And finally, the fourth step of Project Bluebeam was going to use various technologies in order to convince people that alien invasions were taking place, alien invasions, and even the rapture itself, thus making it easier for governments and the powers that be to take control of a fear-addled population. The NASA Bluebeam project is the prime directive for the New World Order's absolute control over the populations of the entire Earth.
Hey, check me out though. Like, how many of y'all going for it? You feel me? Look, they start to do that, bro. I'm gonna be right outside in the backyard somewhere, sipping on me some organic juice, you know, and just why I might screen record it. I might do a reaction to that shit live, y'all. Yeah, they better stop playing with me. I'm not going for it, bro. Like, how many of y'all going for it? You can't keep living and vibrating with fear, man. You can't live there. That shit is so toxic. It really speed up your life cycle and kill you. You know, having all these heart problems and stuff, and then all these people are got what they did last time. They scared y'all with the you know what, when niggas are gonna start turning into zombies out this motherfucker. People got the. I don't want to say it because they be coming after me. Y'all know I can't. Y'all know I can't say it. It's like saying it's like how niggas felt in the hood with Candyman. You ain't want to say Candyman too many times in the hood. You feel me? He scared the shit out of black people, quote unquote black people. Copper tone, it's us. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? I ain't going. I do reaction for y'all niggas though, like while y'all out here tripping and being scared and stuff. But I do a live reaction as soon as the fireworks kick off.
Humans have been mesmerized by the moon since the dawn of man. And although many theories have been proposed, scientists cannot say with absolute certainty how this celestial object came into being.
Now, they had to come up with a very bizarre theory for how the moon came into being, because all the conventional theories don't make any sense. The best theory of the moon's formation, phantasmagorically catastrophic collision of two things, you know, at just the right angle to form this belt of debris that then formed the moon. But the moon, its exact size is such that it gives us total eclipses. Its disk exactly covers the sun. And the chances of that occurring are so literally astronomically small. It's very disturbing.
Lead us to the truth, brother.
For you another chance to do it again on your next chance. You did not prove genetic or historic lineage outside of the Bible, or outside of the Torah or religious talking points. So I'm gonna need you before this. And if you're not able to do it, you can say that. That's fine. But what I would like you to do before this conversation or discussion is over is to prove genetically and historically where you come from without using religion and without using the evolution theory, okay? And the reason I'm bringing that up is because if you study genetics you'll know that black people, we have the same exact chemical composition as a plant. The only difference between plants is we have magnesium. I mean, we have iron in our blood, and plants have magnesium. If you were to switch magnesium with iron, we would turn green and plants would turn black. Now, why is this important? A rose in the summer and a rose in the winter is still red. You have Eskimos right now in colder climates that are still black. We don't go to colder climates and turn white, okay? Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is this has also been confirmed by a biology professor named John Biggerstaff. He's a biology professor, and he said, quote, "There is no evolutionary or natural reason for pale skin," which means nobody evolves for beneficial reasons and creates pale skin. There is no scientific advantage of having pale skin. And this is a white biology professor. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because the evolution theory and going into the cold and turning pale, that is a lie that Caucasoid people tell us in order to integrate themselves into our history, because they have no history and they have not explained where they come from. And so my thing is this: even if we did turn color during colder climate environments, why are we not all right now chameleons? Why is everybody in America not black during the summer, light skinned during the fall, white during the winter, and then back light skinned during the spring? So you don't see a chameleon effect with humanity because it has not happened and it will never happen. Point number 2, which I don't want to fly over people's head. If you are not black, you are not a full human being according to science. You have Neanderthal DNA. So here's the thing. If I go right now and live in Alaska, even if I did turn light skinned, I would not lose 7% of my DNA. So what the evolution theory and what you presented is failing to establish is this. Even if we did go to a colder climate and turn a lighter shade of pigmentation, why is your DNA inclined and encompassed of animal species that you cannot sexually reproduce with?
That argument right there is crazy, man, because that can go so many different ways. But I will say this, though. It's fucking interesting to me. See, some people just love to get in their feelings. We're the same. We're not the same. Did y'all just see the NFL draft? Did you see the NBA finals? Stop playing. All right. But look, I think this shit is interesting as hell because, look, I'm one of these people that I love information. I like figuring out the truth behind things that really matter, you know? And I think, man, the more we get to know ourselves, man, the more peace it would be for everybody. You feel me? Like, that's real talk because we all got things that was taken away from us too as well, man. Like our identities, you know? But me, I'm the type of person, man, what happened, but what we got to live in, we got to be in the moment and fixing what we can do right now. There's no need, you know, like to be arguing with people. We know we different. Stop. Like we're not the same, but it's dope at the same time. You feel me? You got you got so many different people. Look, man, they say what in the next couple of years there's gonna be people that's coming up from under the earth, reptilians that's gonna be green and shit. They gonna have long teeth. Look, man. That shit's way different than us. How y'all gonna treat them niggas when they come up? Look, let me know in the comments down below, man. You feel me? But look, hey, let me know how y'all feel about these conversations in the comments, man. Like I said, man, those, when our people look back on this, those are the hieroglyphs that they're gonna be looking at for us, man. Them comments. But look, let's keep going.
According to the Voice of Russia, the KGB files contained extraordinary film of a UFO crash and recovery in March of 1969 outside the city of Sverdlovsk, then called Yekaterinburg. In the KGB footage, military personnel are seen rushing to the site of the crash, where they amazingly find a UFO jammed halfway into the ground at an angle. The footage continues as soldiers with AK-47s at the ready keep watch, while officers and civilian-clothed agents examine the wreckage. More unbelievably, additional footage appears to show an autopsy on an alien body found within the craft.
Like a torso.
In many ways, This event reflects the stories told about America's Roswell crash. However, in this case, it appears to be astonishingly captured for all to see in full-color video. And yet, this is not the only astounding alien encounter recorded in formerly secret Soviet files. In fact, according to the documents, it's not even the only time the Soviets recovered an alien. In February of 1959, witnesses in the city of Gdynia, in what was then Soviet-controlled Poland, reported seeing a glowing object in the sky, crashing into the Baltic Sea near the city's docks. Authorities immediately sent divers into the icy waters to attempt to recover the wreckage and find out what it was. Yet all they could return to the surface with was a single piece of shiny metal. Hours later, a strange silhouette humanoid emerged from the water, dragging itself to shore as if injured. The humanoid's face was badly burnt, unrecognizable, and it was dressed in an unusual uniform, rambling in a language nobody could understand. Authorities arrived on the scene and took the figure to the hospital, where it received treatment for its heavy facial burns. Oddly, when doctors tried to remove the being's uniform in order to treat its body, they found it could not be torn. Despite having the appearance and feel of being thin and light, the material was strong as steel. Eventually, the unusual humanoid died from its injuries, yet officials recognized this was no ordinary death. The body was placed in a frozen container and transported to a secret government location for further examination. There, doctors discovered that the organs and circulatory system of the being were nothing like those of humans. Moreover, the being was found to have 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot. Doctors and scientists were stunned. It appeared the creature was not from this world. Could it really be possible that the Soviet Union recovered and conducted experiments on not one, but 2 separate alien beings? And if so, what did they learn? And what other secrets might exist in still unreleased documents from that time? One thing is for sure. After the Soviet Union turned itself into an enormous listening post in 1978, stories of alien encounters like these only became more prevalent. Russia's Lake Baikal in southern Siberia is the world's largest freshwater lake, and with a maximum depth of over 5,000 feet, also its deepest. But it is more than that. Since ancient times, Lake Baikal has been known by locals as the home of mysterious spirits, and even a flaming dragon, which is said to live deep below its depths. In more modern times, Lake Baikal has become one of the world's hotspots for UFO sightings, with reports of giant glowing orbs hovering over the water and strange figures in shiny suits emerging every year. Perhaps the most shocking of these reports came in 1982, not from ordinary citizens, but directly from the Soviet military itself. According to leaked Soviet military documents, that year, a team of 7 divers was dispatched to a depth of just over 150 feet, where they were shocked to find what appeared to be some sort of craft. For several days, they studied the craft, until one day they suddenly noticed giant humanoid figures swimming around it. The figures appeared to be 10 feet tall or more, dressed in tight-fitting silvery suits with transparent spheres on their heads. Quickly, the order came from the surface. The divers were to capture the humanoids. As they moved towards the humanoids, they were abruptly hit by some sort of sonar wave weapon, which killed 3 of the divers instantly and left the other 4 badly injured. All 7 washed up on the shore minutes later. Could it be that what locals believed to be spirits under the waters of Lake Baikal were really alien beings? Is this why the area is such a hotspot for UFOs? And if so, what remains under the waters to this day?
Hey, y'all remember it was a movie, I think it's called like Below or something. I don't know. Just look up any movie with dealing with the water in the past like 5 years or whatever. It was a pretty dope movie, man, but it reminds me of that, man. And they always put a lot of this stuff in there. Why you think the new Avatar movies is going back to the water? Why you think that the Black Panther movie was dealing with the water? Why do you think that movie had those creatures down there, and these creatures were intelligent creatures that was like aliens that was, you know, killing the people down there. But it's crazy though, man. Y'all go ahead and check it out. Find it. It's called Below or something, maybe. I try to look it up at the end of the video, man. Somebody put in the comments. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
And Honeywell Aerospace. I spent 20 years of my life there. I was in launch control, and I watched Challenger go down. There is a great deal that is going on there that people don't know about. The biosphere was put into orbit around the Earth in what scientists and most people would call a perfect circular orbit. That perfect circular orbit is so close with the Earth and the body is so large that it literally is tidally locked. And therefore we only see one side of the moon, one face of the moon as it rotates. So the rotation is synchronized to the rotation around the Earth such that we only see that one face all the time. So there are many things that can be done on the backside of the biosphere that are out of the purview of humanity. And so there are many bases and things that allegedly are there. I haven't seen them myself. The biosphere, unfortunately, it has, to my knowledge, 12 reactors or power systems. Many of them are damaged or failing, and there are only a few of them still functional.
There's a lot of insiders who are reporting that the moon has an influence locking humanity in our 3D existence. But since the moon is thousands of years old, put into place around 12,500 years ago, a lot of these systems are failing, and we're not getting locked into 3D as much as we were. We're starting to evolve into our 4th and 5th density existence because we're no longer locked into this place.
The problem with this is that if they should all die or go down at one time, that would cause a catastrophic reaction here on Earth so that many of the beings would then be faced with 5D. Some would be prepared and could make it through it. Others would not, and they would perish or they would leave this place very quickly or instantly. But the Andromedans still are maintaining that. It at one time was under direct control of the reptilian race, and the reptilian and draconian overlords, they controlled the biosphere, and they used that 3D to control humanity. That is no longer the prevalent case. So humanity is pretty much doing its own thing. It's like mass hallucination. So we're hoping and trying very hard to get humanity to wake up before it's too late.
I have been told through clients under hypnosis that the moon is actually not a solid structure. It's completely hollowed out, and there's different bases and different rooms within this moon.
On November 20th, 1969, Apollo 12 deliberately crashed the ascent stage of its lunar module, leading some theorists to support a hollow moon theory.
Who decided that on the first landing, Neil Armstrong would set out a seismograph? What made you do that? Not a word. Yeah, because you guys know something. Look at the craters on the moon. They're huge. Tycho goes across its entire face. That's the size of the continent of North America. A blast that big. And yet, it's so shallow, it hardly even dented it. Somebody asked me about that. I said, pretty good body armor on the car, I guess. Yeah, well, when they fired the upper half of the lunar module back to the moon.
Hey, y'all, they told us about that. Y'all seen it in Moonfall, right? Hey, if y'all haven't, look, I got some recommendations. Go watch Moonfall if you haven't already, man. It's interesting. I'm not saying believe it, but it's a good-ass movie, y'all. It's a good-ass movie. Just watch it.
Moon and Earth, which are so freakishly precise they defy all odds of randomness, with nothing like it in any other known planetary system. For example, the Sun is exactly 400 times bigger than the Moon, and it's almost 400 times the distance away. But that's just the beginning. There are the coincidences around the numbers 366, for the numbers 1092, and then the numbers 273. If you calculate the likelihood of this kind of precision in a random creation, the number would be so small it wouldn't fit on the screen. One of the strangest things about the moon is something that we don't even give a second thought, something called tidal lock. Frankly, the scientific definition makes it sound very natural. Tidal lock is simply that the moon's rotation exactly matches its orbit. In short, This means, against all natural laws, the same side of the moon always faces the planet, and we're prevented from ever seeing the back half of our moon, also known as the dark side of the moon. Explore the universe. With very few exceptions, everything spins, including Earth, whose rotation should be throwing the moon into a furious counterspin. Instead, somehow, our moon is literally like an all-watching eye.
Air Force Base, these cigar-shaped ships were over a mile in length. One of them landed on the airport landing strip area. When it touched the ground, it created an earthquake like about a 3.5 to 4.0. It terrified everybody in the area. The back of this craft opened up, and several hundred young men with huge, heavy weapons came out of two sides of the ship and formed a protection line around the ship. And the people at that Air Force base, the commander, had a meeting with the individuals that were aboard this ship. And this particular race that landed those ships and that are seen in these huge cigar-shaped ships, they are a black race. They look like African Americans. They were about 6'4", 6'5", these tight-fitting black leather outfits on, and the weapons that they came out of the ships with, they were huge weapons. And if you've ever seen a race of people that were conquerors, that had never been conquered, they've got this look about them of arrogance. That is exactly what these extraterrestrials had, and they informed these people at this American Air Force base that not only were they from a militaristic society, but they had controlled a large portion of the galaxy that we live in. And this was the statement that Ronald Reagan was making to the United Nations when he said that if all the countries on the planet realized that there was a threat from outer space and from an alien civilization, we would all come together. But he was not allowed to make this statement. What I tell you is true, and the gentleman that you had on before, tell him to look up.
Often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet I ask you, is not an alien...
Yet I ask you, it's not a... Look, man, it's the reason why certain people aren't here right now, people. But, you know, we're in a different time and age, man. But this information is out here. It's been out here. It's stacking up. Remember what they was talking about with Blue Beam? Just check this out. I kind of think, like, all right, if they do the Blue Beam situation, they want everybody to be afraid, terrified of what's to come. They want to prepare you to be rebellious against quote unquote ancestors coming back down to regulate this shit. So I say this, look, if it's Blue Beam is fake. We're gonna do a reaction video to that shit, y'all. We're gonna rock out. We gonna do our thing. The ancestors come down, we're gonna know it's the ancestors. It's gonna be completely different. You know the feeling. We have a habit of going off of just what we heard or we seen. But what do we feel as well when we see these things? You know, we got to get back to that. Like the animals, they know how to migrate before a great storm or something like that is to come. They are in tune with this planet on a different level, and we can get back to that. We definitely can get back to that. That's why the movie Avatar is the way it is. They said that they represent who, but it was also showing how connected we were to nature and where we're away from. So get back to grounding, get back to getting y'all feet in the grass, climbing trees. I'm not just telling y'all to be doing these things. I'm telling y'all because I do it. Real talk. I'll show you videos. I'll show you pictures. Check out my Instagram. I'm gonna post some pictures. I'm gonna post on here too, man. I gotta start posting more pictures. I don't like taking pictures of myself. I ain't that type of person. I do these videos to have fun, entertain, and you know what I'm saying, give good information at the same time. I really do enjoy doing what I do. But at the same time, I want y'all to, you know, do something. Just try it out. Not saying just listen to me. Just try it out. Take your shoes off. Look, I got ugly feet too. It's okay. We went with the earth. The earth don't care. Put your feet in the dirt, man. I'm telling you, if you got stomach pain, stuff like that, you'll start to feel better. Inflammation, it'll just start helping. I don't want to give you too much, but do your own research, man. Go out here and enjoy it with your friends and your family, man. Share these videos, and I'll see you on the next video, man. Like I always say, spread love, because there's too much hate in this world. Love you guys. I'll see you on the next video, and I'm out though. Bye.